Hi, welcome to the first part of implementing circuit breaker pattern in Spring Boot applications. Before we lay our hands on the code, we need to understand certain basic terms with respect to circuit breaker. Resilience is a very commonly used term in microservices world. It talks about the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. It talks about the toughness of your application. Let's say you have an e-commerce application which has a particular service that lists all the items available for purchase. And one fine day, because of high concurrency of requests, this service goes down. So all those users are just refreshing their browsers and waiting for the items to be displayed. But the service is down. So what happens is the users just clock down the application server with several requests. So how do you handle this scenario? So here is where the circuit breaker pattern comes in. A circuit breaker is a simple structure that constantly remains vigilant and it constantly keeps monitoring for faults. You have a function that is being called and you have a circuit breaker that monitors that particular function. As long as the function is fine, the circuit is closed, which means it's perfectly fine. And when the function starts throwing error, that's where the circuit breaker kicks in and it just sees and it starts monitoring that particular function. Hey, what is going on? And if the function continues to throw error for quite some time, your circuit breaker immediately stops it and then says, hey, I'm not going to allow you to invoke that function anymore. Instead, I'm going to start sending you standard error responses because you're failing too many times. So circuit breaker is just a simple structure that's going to be monitoring that particular function calls. And if the circuit opens, it's just quickly going to send standard error messages. So if you want to read more about circuit breaker pattern, Martin Fowler's site has a fantastic article on this. So now that we have Spring Boot applications, how do we implement circuit breaker pattern in these applications? Well, you can hand toss your own mechanism for implementing this, or you can use a library called Hystrix provided by Netflix. Netflix Hystrix is a library that gives you capability to bring in resilience in your applications. You can implement your circuit breaker pattern by configuring certain fallback mechanisms. So what we do is we create a Spring Boot application, include the Hystrix library, and throw in annotations here and there and set up our circuit breaker pattern. All you have to remember is Hystrix is just not used for this purpose only. It also provides extensive monitoring capabilities, which is beyond the scope of this particular video. So now what? Time to create a Spring Boot application and configure Hystrix and use your circuit breaker annotations out there and see how the whole circuit breaker pattern works now. Thank you.